I want to start because I want to talk about this stinking blob thing that's the main character. It's the Michelin Man, right? This is a movie about the Michelin Man.
What's that movie? Is it a hit? I'll ask her later, she'll say, I haven't seen it.
Welcome to the Haven't Seen It podcast. This is a podcast where we bring people on the show and we get them really drunk and they tell me about a movie that I've never seen before. I'm Alink Zach.
And I'm Will.
And he's here!
And I'm here. I'm here as well. Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sick of that stupid bit. I hate it. It was so funny at first and now I don't like it. We got a little giggle fest in the corner.
Well, today on the show, we have very special guests, good friends, Chris and Tamlynn of the Toronto-based sketch comedy group, Cookie Biscuits.
Biscuit
That's right.
cookies!
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having us.
So
my
pumped to
God.
be here.
They're our
Thanks.
baked good arch nemesis.
So-
Nemesis.
So excited. Today, boy, I forget what number this is. Big Hero 6?
It's,
Big Hero 6.
It's
Because
episode
earlier
15.
today I was like, no, shush. I was like, it's Big Hero 7. I was like, God, I hate movies that have like a series of other movies that was like Big Hero 1, Big Hero 2, Big Hero 3, Big Hero 4. And when it first came out, I was like, I don't fucking remember this movie coming out. I don't remember any of the other big heroes. And I was like, this is a cartoon. Like, you would have thought I would have seen it at some point in my life. Like, if they're coming out with number 6 now. But I am assuming that's incorrect.
So when the
Yeah.
101 Dalmatians came out, you were like, I didn't see the first 100 Dalmatian movies. The Hateful Eight. What about the Hateful Seven?
No, that makes more sense because they're saying there are 101 Dalmatians. They're saying there is a furious number of 7 people. Or what was it? Is that what is it?
Hateful Eight.
Hateful. Why did I think furious?
Furious
Anyway.
7.
I think that's why. Anyways, I was like, oh, those make sense. But this one is like, this movie could be a standalone big hero. It could be like Lion King, you know, like it's not.
You have a lot of opinions having never seen this movie on it being named incorrectly. Like there is a
I'm
reason
pretty
there's a
upset
6.
about it. I don't like to be misled thinking that there's more movies. Okay? I thought I got tricked. I don't feel comfortable with that, you know? So that's my stance.
So I guess the name of our drink is really confusing to you.
It's called what?
It's called
Ham taro?
Hey-
Wait, what is it called?
Did you say ham taro as your first guess?
Yeah, because it's something Aro, right? It's
No,
Bamaro.
no.
It's I know what it is.
I don't think you do.
It's not.
No,
I do.
No, you
I
don't.
read it like an hour ago. Okay,
Well, we're
whatever.
not moving
What
on
is
until
it?
you get it. No. No.
Well,
Guess a
our
couple
okay.
more.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, one more guess. You get one more.
One more. Fuck.
Incorrect.
Will, you better leave this silence in.
I want to say bergamot, but I know that's that's a fucking flower or something. I know it's not it.
It's Baymax.
Baymax. I knew
Yes.
That was pretty close.
Our drink today is the Baymax, named after someone or thing in this movie.
It's the white guy. To be clear, it is the Michelin Man looking white guy.
it
I
very
assume
much
there's other
could be.
white
Yes.
characters. Not made. I think it's made of metal, though. What's your drink, Will?
Oh my goodness.
Well, our drink is a marshmallows soaked in vodka. Then you take that vodka, use it as the base of a drink, fill it up with Irish cream, put those marshmallows in. You can add ice cubes in it if you want. And then top it with, I originally said cherries, but alas, I forgot to get cherries. So I've got raspberries. Chris and Tamlynn's got raspberries.
Mhm.
And Alenka did have cherries. So she topped hers with cherries.
Hell
really
yeah.
any red fruit will work. Any red berry like fruit.
See, I don't get that because I thought you're just like, oh, I saw Lenka put a cherry in one of her drinks and that looked cute. So you're like, I'll just continue that into the next drink. But from what I recall, I can't remember the fucking name. I'm calling him Bergamot. I think Bergamot, I'm pretty sure he's blue though. Like, I feel like he's white and then his eyeballs are blue. Yeah?
I think his eyes are black.
Yeah, they look pretty black to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the red. Oh, okay. The red must be the little boy. It's gotta be. Does he die? Does the Bergamot die? No.
This movie, I was watching it the other day in preparation for this podcast, and I was like, I forgot how good this movie is. I'm a little nervous to do this podcast because I don't think I'll do it justice, but we're diving in anyway.
Why do you think this movie is so good? What do you love about this movie?
Oh, it has just it has such a good sense of humor, I think, is like what I really liked about it. I mean, we'll dive into the specifics, but there are just some really good. It's that kind of like that kids movie that adults can enjoy just as much, kind of feel. And it's got so much heart. It makes you laugh and cry. And there's a lot of kick-ass action. It's got everything you need. Other than, I guess, maybe not romance, but it's got other types of love.
That's
yes.
fine.
Other types
Do
of
we
very
get into
valid love.
What is it called when a human likes a machine? What's that relationship?
Like
we can move on from this.
Like
topic.
platonically, or the other kind of relationship.
No, it's fine. I don't want to talk about it. I feel self-conscious. What about you, Chris? Why you like this movie so much?
Everything Tamlynn said. She took all the good bits. Basically, Alenka, I also have a horrible memory, and so
okay.
People will quote my favorite things, and I'll still not know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, that's happened to me. It's very sad.
Yeah, but like because I have a bad memory, if I enjoy something, I can easily go and see it again and enjoy it a second time. So I actually saw Big Hero 6 twice in the theater, and then watched it again when it came out on like video. And I've seen it several more times since. And even just on this most recent rewatch, I was like still being like, oh shit, I forgot that happened. It's really good.
So do you own it on DVD?
I don't, but I might have to get it on DVD now.
Okay, so dark, his eyes are red. You said black. Do they go red because he turns evil?
Oh, maybe.
Ooh. Look at, she does this. She does this all the time. She just says something and it predicts the movie.
Honestly, Will, I didn't put together that that's why there were cherries. I had a different
No, they're actually not for his eye. It was red because like the poster and like the details around him are kind of red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Chris and Tamlynn, please tell us, how does this movie start?
All right. Open on Sky View. San
Fransokyo.
I thought we were going to say it at the same time.
I was trying to. I was trying real hard.
Wait. 3, 2, 1.
San Fransokyo. The delay of the internet might.
Sokyo. Is this movie Japanese or not?
Great question. Anyways, Tamlynn, continue.
We zoom in and we go into an underground bot fight. So it's like a chicken fight, but like with robots.
Oh, and I'm familiar with bot fights.
Yeah, you've seen Real Steel, but nothing else.
I don't know what that is.
And it's like seedy. It's clearly a seedy part of town. And there's like dirty money being passed around. And there's this like big guy with his robots and he keeps winning all the fights. And then he's like, who's going to challenge me? Maybe he says something like that. And then enter this young preteen boy.
Oh yeah, I knew it.
And he's like, oh, I've never done one before, but I'd like to try. And he has this very cute little robot and it's got a little smiley face on it. And it looks just so cute. And it looks awful for bot
It looks like a
fighting.
little detail-less doll, like a toy.
They kind of look like dildos.
Nice.
Oh, or butt plugs, because they're pretty.
Oh, yeah,
like,
more like butt plugs.
The pieces of it.
It's
are
like
pretty
made up of a bunch of butt plugs.
Butt
That's
plugs
what the
and
doll
dildos.
looks like.
Don't know
It's
what
adorable.
that is. It's adorable.
Yeah, I feel like dildos are like usually smoother.
Yeah, these are a little rough.
Oh,
They're like,
yeah.
These
Totally.
these have like
Those
harsher
things
angles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're usually very just like smooth and like. All right, so this boy's like, "Come on, bruh," and they're like, "Okay."
Yeah, and his robot gets destroyed right out of the gate, just
Aw.
blammo into a million pieces by this
Well, into
giant
like
guy's robot.
6 pieces.
Okay, like 6
Into like
pieces.
its main pieces. Yeah.
into
It's only
6
got a
butt
couple
plug pieces.
Yeah. It's like all its arms and legs are off.
Yeah, and the big guy's like, "Ha ha ha! You could never beat me." And then the kid's like, "Give me one more chance." And the guy's like, "Get out of here, kid." And then the kid's like, "I got money," and he holds up the giantest wad of cash that you've ever seen a little boy holding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's important because before he held up like a really crumply bit of cash as if like, I don't
Aw.
even know, is this enough? And yeah, now he's got this big wad of like rolled cash.
What a sneak. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's a hustler. Is that the word?
Oh,
No.
Maybe. Yeah. Isn't it?
Or a shark. He's a hustler or a shark.
Shark is the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Yeah. Continue, Chris.
Oh, okay, sure. So then the guy is obviously like, "This is a lot of money, and I've got this in the bag. Let's do it." And then all of a sudden, the kid's 6 pieces of robot come back together, and he fights the big guy, just totally destroys him because those little pieces can get all into like the nooks and crannies of the other robot.
And the happy face like swivels around and it's got like an angry red mad face. So it goes from being like this happy little robot to like, "Arr!" And then the little robot kicks the big robot's ass.
Oh, also, if it's not clear yet, Alenka, this whole movie is an animated movie.
Yeah, I know. I
Just
know
in case
that.
you were trying to imagine like a live action version of this.
The Michelin Man. He's real.
Yeah, and then so like the kid wins, but then the big guy's like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna murder you now because you sharked me."
Yeah.
I don't
they're
want
so quick to
to
murder a
hog telling this
child.
story. Oh yeah. I mean, in his defense, that kid was asking for it.
He was really
This
like
is the
showing off.
opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite of the save the cat moment. This
Mhm.
kid not doing good things.
Right.
He's sharking.
But he's
left and
clearly
right.
like, he's
Yeah,
clearly
he's just
smart.
a cocky
We're like,
little kid.
but we're like, oh, what a smart little, like, I was not that smart at 14 or 13. Like, what a smart little kid. So they all start moving
Yeah.
in. They're like, oh, we're going to kill you. And then his older brother swoops in on a motorcycle, I think.
Yeah, because
And
he's
Well,
he's
it's a
running.
scooter.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a scooter. Aw.
He's
And there's
running.
these
Please make
And
the
his,
distinction.
and his
I
brother's
love
like,
these
Hero,
look
get
like-
on.
Yeah.
Wait, his name's what?
Oh, the kid's name is Hero.
No, this isn't right to me. This doesn't. I'm confused.
Sorry, we must
No,
be
no,
mistaken.
actually, sorry. The kid's name is Bergamot.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, and his older brother's name is Tadashi, I think.
Yeah, a great moment of exposition while they're escaping on the scooter, where
I was just
Tadashi's
gonna
like,
say.
you graduated high school at 13 and this is what you're doing with your life. And we're like, oh, I get it. Cool.
Yeah, because that's what you'd say when you're
Okay.
running away from murderous mobsters. The
See?
police show up and arrest everyone.
Yeah.
Including the children.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, because
Nice.
Hero's so dumb and he's like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but look at all this money I made just as the cops show up.
What an
It's-
idiot.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We also get the exposition of Tadashi saying bot fighting is illegal, Hero. So we know, like,
But
No,
then
but
yeah. Do
Hero
it.
says, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Chris, you got it. You got
Are
it.
you
I'm
sure?
going to let you get this. Yeah, you got this.
Hero says, bot fighting's not illegal. Betting on bot fighting is.
Wow.
Money.
Money.
What a piece of shit. I don't
Yeah.
like this kid.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We're at this point in the movie, we're much more into his older brother.
All right. So do
Uh,
they go to jail?
They go to jail.
They go to jail and their
The
Aunt
movie's
Cass,
done.
their
Yeah.
Aunt Cass comes to bail them out. So now we know that their like mother figure is this woman named Aunt Cass.
Maya Rudolph, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
know that.
Yeah.
And then she's all like, how could you do this? I'm going to stress eat. Oh, they go home and they live like above a cafe.
No.
Yeah, we have a
That
little
she
joke
owns.
about her stress eating. Yeah. Which I'm like, I don't know. I'm not super into stress eating jokes, but I get it. And they go upstairs and she's all mad. And then Hero's like, oh, there's another bot fight right across town. I'm going to go bot fight again, even though I just got arrested for it.
And I believe that, so they're up in their room. They like share a room, or they have like a sectioned off one room thing. But they this is where we established that they don't have parents. Their parents are gone, presumably died.
Okay.
Yes.
Because he is like trying to tell his brother, you can't keep bot fighting. You should do something with your life. What would mom and dad think? And Hero's all like, mom and dad are gone. That's all we get. We don't really know. Like, it wasn't a fire or a car crash or
Doesn't he
heart
say
attacks.
they died when I was 3? Or does he just say they left when I was 3?
Oh,
I think he does say something about them dying when he was 3.
I
That
think they're
sounds
dead.
familiar.
yeah.
Okay.
think
So
they're
they are
dead.
dead and
They
didn't just
dead.
leave. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Chris, take it away. I've been
Tadashi-
talking for a while. Okay.
So Tadashi's like, okay, well, I can't stop you from bot fighting, but I might as well drive you and be with you while you do it, just to protect you. So he takes Hero on his scooter, but we end up not going to a bot fight, but going to his nerd school, aka is it San Fransokyo University, or no? What's it called?
I don't remember, but something like that, like the San Fransokyo Institute of Technology.
Yes, you got it exactly.
Did I really?
Whoa.
Yeah,
yeah.
I have the Wikipedia up over here.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. I was like, you
Wow.
got
I got
notes?
nothing. My phone is dark.
Cheater.
Well, I just gotta make sure,
No, I like that. You got to fact check.
But yeah, he
Can't
they
be
keep
lying on this podcast.
They keep referring to it as nerd school, though. And
Mhm.
Hero's all like, why'd you take me to your nerd school? Ugh.
But this kid's
And then
smart.
they go in the nerd school.
This kid's also
Very
a nerd.
smart.
So,
Oh, yeah.
That is a good point.
And it's here that we meet the rest of the cast.
Woo!
All of
yeah,
it?
very exciting. Yeah, the
Pretty
other
much, yeah.
Yeah. The 6 in
Chris,
the big
take
hero.
it away. Break them all down.
Oh,
There's 6?
all right. Let me try to see if
I'm
I can
so
remember all of them.
confused, man. I thought it
There's
was
something
about
like
one
that. I don't know.
robot.
Okay, who's the first person we meet? Is it Wheels? Is it what's her go
Yeah.
Yes.
fast?
She's
Sassy
the one
pants.
name I can't remember.
Yeah, faster. It's Go.
It's Go
Oh, it
Go.
is Go-Go. Okay.
Go, not cry. That's
are
a
these all
Planet Terror
robots or are
reference.
all these people?
These are people.
These are all people. Yeah.
These
These are
are
people.
Tadashi's classmates. And they're all in this like lab where they're like inventing things as part of their like nerd schooling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Go is working on a bike, like a motorbike that has like magnet suspension wheels so that it can go super fast, but she's never satisfied with how fast it goes. But
That's why she's called Go.
yeah. And Hero's like, this is so cool. I've never seen anything like this. He's making cooler stuff, but like whatever.
He's being nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
He's
she's
being
just like,
humble.
not fast enough. And she like throws a wheel in the garbage.
And then do we meet Wasabi next?
Stop it. Are these really the
I think so.
goddamn names?
Yeah, Wasabi
Yeah,
is for
it's-
sure the name.
Yeah.
This is fucked up. This
Well,
is
they
very
address-
gross, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They address why he's named Wasabi like literally minutes later. But
Mhm. And
Which
Wasabi's
is
working on lasers. We'll tell you. Wasabi's working on lasers. And I'm pretty sure Hero almost dies like that character, like those characters in Resident Evil, because Wasabi's like, stop. And then like you see that there's lasers in front of him.
mhm.
Oh no.
Very
Yeah.
unsafe work environment.
Super unsafe. You should be able to, yeah. Then next up, I think we got Fred.
No, Honey
Oh.
Lemon.
Oh, Honey Lemon's
What
next.
the
Okay.
Fuck.
And Honey
These are
Lemon's
their
working on like
nicknames or real names? Oh fuck.
These are nicknames.
yeah, we learn soon that they're nicknames.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
And Honey Lemon's working on like some goo. Oh, it's like pink. It looks pink glittery, but then it makes something like disappear. So it looks like it's really like
Ooh.
girly, and you underestimate it, and then it's like super kick-ass.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't want to sound like a dick here, but she's definitely the most useless of all of them, right?
Whoa!
I
Oh,
just
no,
mean
that's-
like her power is like throwing
Power?
goo.
She
No,
Oh
she later.
man,
I
what is
disagree.
gonna happen?
No,
'Cause
she
she can then
covers.
concoct. She can
Yeah.
concoct different goo, like like different types of goo depending on the situation.
She's like Robin Williams and Flubber. Like she's
Oh.
great.
Fred's the most useless one, I think.
Well, yeah, he doesn't even have a nickname. What a dum dum.
I feel like Fred really redeems himself later. But we'll
That's
get
true.
Yeah.
That's true. We underestimate him. We're meant to underestimate Fred.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
Okay.
Because then we meet Fred next.
And he's just this like stoner guy. Like he looks like Shaggy from Scooby Doo.
Nice.
Played by
I
TJ
see
Miller.
Yeah. And
He
he
wants to,
doesn't even go to the school.
I know who that is.
Doesn't he go to the
Wait,
school?
is that
Wasn't he
real?
the school mascot?
No,
Doesn't he say
he doesn't.
School mascot
No,
by
he's
day and
just a
school
school-
mascot by night.
Yeah, but he doesn't even. He's not a student.
Oh,
really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed that part.
He's just a fan of science, he says.
right.
He literally sits on a recliner in the middle of the lab just to watch them all do their science and then make outlandish requests that they can't actually fulfill.
Yeah, he's like, make me breathe fire. And they're like, that's not science.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
feel like he should not be allowed in on the campus. There should be an Amber Alert about him.
Well, I mean, everyone on campus is like over 18.
Sure. Just to let you know. I
Yeah,
got
it's yeah.
Oh, I guess they use it for everything. Oh, I called it an Amber Alert for like a hurricane the other day. A real
Really?
one. My phone was
Oh.
like, take cover if it gets crazy out. And I
That's not an Amber Alert. Amber
No, I
Alert
think
is
that's
for
just a note,
specifically child
just
abduction.
specifically just for child. Oh, well,
Unless
the
the
more
hurricane
you
abducted
know.
a child, then it wasn't an Amber Alert.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh.
Well,
This got sad. And it's here that we learned that Fred gave everyone the nicknames and that Wasabi is named Wasabi because he's like, I spilled wasabi on my shirt one time. So for some reason, Fred, who is the school mascot, has the power to give everyone nicknames that they don't really want.
such a weird person.
Wasabi also wears green a lot, so that's another indication of
Mm,
his nickname.
mhm.
And then we see Tadashi's creation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
So Tadashi goes into this other room. Oh, I feel like I'm not going to do this part justice because this
No,
is
you
like
got this.
crucial. It's a
You
crucial
got
part
this.
of the
We
movie.
believe in you.
So he's like, this is what I've been working on. And I don't know, like, oh no, he puts tape on Hiro's arm. He puts like duct tape on Hiro's arm and rips it off. Very mean. And Hiro goes like, ow. And then you hear this like whoop, and then Baymax enters, who is this big, the Michelin man that you have been describing. He's this like robot who
Bergamot.
kind of looks like a big balloon. He comes out of this like little suitcase, and like you can tell he's just adorable. He kind of like steps out very like gently and politely
he
and
has
walks
legs.
over. He has legs, and he like moves a
Alright.
chair, like he's very polite. And he's like, hello, I'm Baymax, your robot healthcare practitioner or something. And he's like, I was alerted when you said, ow, how much does it hurt on a scale of 1 to 10? And this like thing lights up on his chest with like happy faces from 1 to 10 getting angrier. And he like scans Hiro and is like, oh, you have a like abrasion on your arm. Let me fix that. And he like sprays some stuff on him. And it's just amazing. It's clearly
Yeah.
an amazing invention.
It's like a healthcare robot.
Is
It's also
does
super
everything.
cute.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what is his name?
Hiro
Is,
or
uh,
Tadashi?
That's it. Is Hiro impressed or what?
He is impressed.
Yeah, Hero's
Okay.
pretty impressed.
And Tadashi's like, yeah, he's gonna help a lot of people. Yeah. And then do we meet Callahan?
Yes,
No,
I believe that is. Well, wait.
Well,
That
I
was just
believe
extent.
this is the first reference we get, and they kind of make it another reference to this, but Hero calls him a walking marshmallow.
Yeah.
They say marshmallow a couple times.
Yeah.
Really?
They're
At
like,
least he's
I like that
soft.
joke. I'm gonna rewrite it back into the next scene.
Oh, and we learn important piece of information because Hero's like, okay, I'm good, and Baymax is like, I cannot deactivate until you say you are satisfied with your care, and Hero's like, okay, Baymax, I'm satisfied with my care, and he's like, okay, wooloo, and like shrinks back down into his little suitcase.
That's exactly how it sounds too. Yeah,
That's pretty good.
How is he fluffy or not? Is he squishy?
He's like balloonish.
He's a
okay,
vinyl
and
balloon.
then he's
he's an
wanted-
inflatable vinyl.
that does not sound
Tadashi
terrible.
wanted him to be like huggable and non-threatening as like a
Mhm.
healthcare practitioner.
Yeah.
Okay.
He probably, I'm just like spitballing here, but he probably feels like a waterbed.
Yeah,
I
or
was
like,
gonna say
an
like
air
a- like a-
mattress.
I was gonna say
Ooh,
like
yes.
a water inflatable water toy. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably what he feels like
Oh,
if he
right.
existed IRL.
And then we meet the professor of the nerd lab, Professor Callahan. And now Hero's kind of like, oh, this place is so cool, and he's like, oh, well, maybe you should come, but like it's really hard, not everyone can. Wait.
This is what impresses Hero is that Callahan. So Callahan's like looking at Hero's little robot that he used in that first scene, his dildo butt plug one.
Yeah.
And Hero's kind of like explaining it a little bit, and then his brother's like, "Hey, idiot! Callahan invented the technology." And then Hero's like, "What?"
And that basically inspires him meeting Callahan. That's the point that inspires him to be like, I've got to go to this fucking nerd school.
Yeah, he's like,
Okay.
I need to go to this nerd school no matter what. And Tadashi's like, well, we're gonna have this like basically like a science fair where you have to like invent something, and if they like what you invent, they'll let you into the school, which seems like a very high bar for applying to a university. But I was like, you have to invent a whole new
something.
technology. So then Hero gears up. We're getting ready for like a good montage. And like
Nice.
he sharpens his pencil, and then he's just like, nothing, I have nothing. Ah.
So there was no montage, or was the montage just literally him sharpening his pencil?
There was a montage fake out.
Yeah.
Montage
and
fake
then-
it, yeah.
That's
And then Tadashi comes in, and I think
Amazing.
he reverse psychologies him. And he's like, well, like not everyone's good enough or something. And then
Well,
he's like,
he picks him up by the ankles, and you're
Yeah.
like, classic older brother teasing. And he's like shaking him by the ankles, and he's telling him to like flip it upside down, find a new angle for the
Yeah.
problem. And as he's like being like shooken upside down, we see the point of view, and he sees his bot, but he it's kind of like focus, like he sees his bot, and we know that he's looking at like the pieces of his bot, and then he goes, ah. Well, he doesn't do that, but inside he does
But
that.
a light bulb does shoot out from his head.
really? Oh my god!
No.
amazing.
no.
Oh. Fuck. Oh.
but then we get a good I think this movie has a lot of really great montages.
Yeah, it's good
And,
montages.
This is the first one where we see him inventing his invention. And it's all like,
Mhm.
We get very little information from the montage though, because he's basically just acquiring a bunch of garbage bins. It looks like I'm not gonna lie. The first time I saw this movie, I thought he was just working so hard that his garbage kept piling up, because that's what it looked like,
Oh.
and I thought that's what they were
Okay.
going for. Until they
Weird.
roll up to the convention with a bunch of garbage bins, and I was like, "Oh, it's in there." Okay.
His inventions
Oh.
in the garbage.
Yeah, so
bin.
they're
Yeah.
each pushing like all of
What?
the people that we met in the lab. They're like each pushing like a big garbage bin, and they're like, "You got this, Hero. You're gonna be great."
Yeah, we're at the
um,
science fair now, Alenka.
Yeah, I know. Wha-
Okay, I'm making sure we didn't transition there.
Chris said convention, so I figured.
Oh, I guess he
we
did.
were-
Yeah. Sorry.
I was trying to make
I
it
listen.
seamless.
yeah.
But it's much better now that we've called attention to it.
I'm a huge mansplainer when it comes to movies, so I apologize, but
That is the premise of this
That hurts.
podcast.
Pretty much. What?
Mansplaining movies to Alenka is the new the new title.
Thank God Tamlynn's here.
It's fine with me.
However, I feel like mansplaining is usually like when a man explains to a woman something that she already knows and when she doesn't want to hear it. Whereas this is Alenka asking to be explained.
But that continually happens because she knows we've transitioned to the next scene. And then I go, we're in the next scene now. Like, and she's like, I know. And I look like the mansplaining dick.
It's really just, it's always just
Also,
Will,
like, this is an animated movie, Alenka. I don't know if you've it's when they animate pictures together.
Yeah. Do you know what that is? Have you ever heard of Walt Disney? Do you know him? He lived with one time. He was a human. Do you know what you are? You're also a human. Yeah, I get it, guys. Think I'm a fucking idiot because I don't see movies. So whatever.
Right.
He brings his garbage to the convention.
Yeah, we're at the science fair and he's all nervous and Tadashi's like, you got this. And he goes on stage. And Chris, why don't you I've talked a lot.
Sure?
You explain the invention and I'll jump in when I see fit.
All right, so we're at the convention. We're seeing all these other people's
It's
inventions,
a
and
fair, not a convention.
Whatever. They the few inventions that we see at this science fair, they look like shit. One of them is, I think, two robot hands that high five each other. Am I? And I feel like they hold on that for like a solid minute.
That's so cool. What do you mean? That's not.
I mean, we've seen robots do way cooler things. So to just see these two arms that slap like hands together, you're like, what? This guy's not getting into this school.
He could.
I need to be more impressed than just slapping five.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why that hit me so hard. I think the marshmallows are
it's
kicking
the marshmallows.
The marshmallows.
Okay. Anyways, I don't think any major. Oh no! Yeah,
So
no
it's
major
just that
details
one
happen
guy in the convention. With his
Yeah, there's
hand
just one guy.
slapping.
Yeah. No, I think we just see Hiro go up on stage, right? Like, I don't remember any other important details. So Hiro gets up there, and he's like, "Hey, this is my robot. It's a tiny little robot. It looks like a butt plug and a dildo combined."
But even tinier.
But even tinier. It's like
But
you're not even going to feel it. Yeah.
Don't judge.
And everyone.
Well, that's why there's so many of them. That's why they're full in the recycling bins.
Yeah, because nobody's impressed. People are starting to walk away. But then he's like, but what if? And then he puts on a headband and his garbage bins, I guess, fall over and start spilling all these little bots out. And they start forming these cool structures and like intricate things.
It's really quite amazing. It's like the greatest thing that's ever been invented. This kid came up with in like a week, probably. They look like the little I feel like they look like the little fish in Finding Nemo. I don't know if that's a movie you've seen, but they're just like forming all these like cool structures. Yeah, it's kind of like that, but
I don't remember that.
But like more epic. And then they can also 3D print a whole building in half of a second.
Yeah.
That's obscene.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so everyone's like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, he woos the crowd. The crowd goes crazy for him.
Like he's like, "This could reinvent travel. It'll change the entire world." And then this like businessman walks up, and he's like, "Wow, Hiro, this is so great. I'd really like to buy this from you."
It's Cray. His name is Cray, which
Alistair Cray.
Alistair Cray.
Played by Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, because 2 dicks is better than 1. Is an expression I heard once. I didn't make that up. I
It's two dildo butt plugs combined are better than 1.
Right.
And then Professor Callahan walks up and he's all like, I forget what he says, but it's very clear that these two are like nemesis. Like
enemies.
He's like, "Oh yeah, sell your tech to this guy if you want your life to be awful, but if you come here, you can develop it and your life will be happy."
Yeah. He's like, he can
Yeah.
he basically, like, Hero's then presented with the decision of, should I sell my tech for a shit ton of money, which was his bot life from before, or Robert's Callahan's offer of, like, develop it further, make it even more incredible, do it for the science, not the money. And he also infers, that Alistair Cray, like, plays fast and loose with the rules, and that
He's like, he cuts corners.
Yeah.
And then Hero goes, his little face gets all like serious, and then he goes, "Thank you, Mr. Cray, but they're not for sale." And you're like, "Yay!"
Yeah.
So cute.
And then good old
Fuck capitalism.
Robert, good old Callahan is like, "You did good, kid. It turns out I'm Willy Wonka, and you got the keys to the factory." Yeah. No, but, yeah. Anyways, Callahan gives him a ticket to the school. He's like, "You made it. You did it. You welcome to nerd school."
Go outside. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody's like, "Yeah, Hero." Aunt Cass is like, "Let's go out to dinner. My treat." All the friends are like, "Woo." And Tadashi and Hero are like, "We'll be right there." And then they go off and they have like a little heart to heart. And I forget exactly what they say, but it's a very nice, heartwarming, brotherly moment where Tadashi's like, "I knew you could do it." And Hero's like, "You're great." Yeah.
It's
and
very
then,
sweet.
And then
Bang!
fire! The whole university
whole
is on
fucking
fire.
Big
What?
explosion.
The convention hall's on fire, not the whole school.
Is everybody inside still?
People are streaming out, but one lady's like,
Ah.
"Professor Callahan's still in there."
And then Tadashi's like, "I have to go get him." And Hero's like, "Tadashi, no." And he's like, "Callahan's in there. I have to go get him." And then he runs
No.
inside and his hat flies off. And he
Oh my God, he
runs in
dies.
the building.
He dies.
And Hero
And then
like pauses a moment. You go, Chris. You go.
No, you got it. I'm just getting so excited and worked up.
You like look like you're talking, and I didn't know if your mic was muted.
I'm literally just
Okay.
mouthing all the words you're saying. Go on.
and so Hero like pauses, and then he like starts running towards the building, and then bam, explosion.
Another
It
explosion.
explodes out. Hero gets like thrown backwards, and then you just like zoom in on Tadashi's hat just sitting on the street, and we know that Tadashi is dead.
Yeah.
Because it's a Disney movie, they have to kill fucking someone.
Yeah.
Super sad.
They do that. They already killed his parents, though.
Well, off screen. Doesn't count.
We weren't connected to them.
Yeah.
God.
So we open up on a joint funeral between Tadashi and Professor Callahan.
Super sad. All the friends are there. I think then we go back to their house, and like Aunt Cass and the friends are standing around, and they're like, "Oh, how's Hero doing?" And then you like go up the stairs, and Hero's like sitting alone in his room, and he's super sad.
Yeah, he's sad.
And then some time passes, I think, and Aunt Cass like walks into his room and brings a letter, and is like, "Oh, like I talked to the school today. And even though it's a couple weeks into the semester, they say you can still like register if you want. So like maybe it's time to start going to school." And Hero's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, maybe."
Okay, so Hero's sad, and he does something, I forget what it is, but he like stubs his toe or something, and he goes, "Ow." And guess who shows up?
That
Baymax.
bergamot.
Bergamot. Essence of Bergamot pops up out of nowhere. And it's I don't think we've talked about how funny Baymax is, because it's played by the voice is Scott Adsit, and he inflates. I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with his voice at this point, but like he like is behind a bed, and he just kind of like has to like shuffle around everything because he's very like unintrusive and like doesn't know how to navigate the real world.
Yeah. And it's almost like it's like his like traveling like sensors are almost like a Roomba.
And so cute. He's so endearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he makes it over to Hero.
Cutie.
He is a cutie. He makes it over to Hero, and he's like, "You are in distress. How can I help you?" And Hero's like, "I'm fine. It's cool. Whatever. Just go away." And he's like, "I'm going to scan you." Hero's like, "Don't scan me." He's like, "I've scanned you." and you are physically okay, but you're emotionally distraught. You're going through puberty. Hero's like, stop, this is horrible. And Hero keeps, because he's so flustered, he keeps tripping over things and hurting himself and saying ow more. And so like, so every time, Baymax is just like, on a scale of 1 to 10, and then he'll say something like, he'll say ow again, and then he'll just keep repeating himself like, on a scale of 1 to 10. And it's very funny and very cute.
Yeah.
And he ends up saying that like Hero's gonna grow hair on his genitals.
Well, it strategically leaves out genitals. He's like, you will start growing hair on your chest, underarm, face, and then Hero's like, whoa, because like it's a Disney movie.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the adults get it, you know?
Yeah, they don't just straight up say, you go hair on your ball sack, man.
Pretty close though.
I wish Will was the one voicing Bergamot. I think it'd be much better.
Is this when he discovers
Yeah.
he discovers he
Mhm.
still has one of his microbots? Oh, this was a thing we didn't talk about earlier. So like when Alistair was like, I want to buy your things, he was like looking at one and then started to walk away, and Tadashi was like, hey, that's my brother's, and he was like, whoops, it was still in my pocket, but he was just
Oh.
gonna like steal a microbot and
Whoa.
passes it back to Hero. So like Hero finds the little microbot that was in like the pocket of his hoodie he was wearing that day, and he's like, oh, one of my microbots, and he puts it in a little like glass circular case.
Like a petri dish, I
And-
guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like moving around, it's all like active, and he's like, well, that's weird because they're attracted to the other microbots and all the microbots got destroyed in the fire, but like it must just be defective, whatever. And then Bergamon at some point picks up the little disc and very cutely says, your tiny robot is trying to go somewhere. And Hero's like, well, why don't you follow it then? And then he looks up and Baymax isn't there anymore. And he's like, oh no. And Baymax is just like walking down the street, like following where this little microbot's trying to go. And he's all like, because he walks very like robotic,
Yeah.
but also like vinyl, like corduroy pants noises. Like,
Nice. Does he make
Um,
noise when he
Yeah,
walks?
like that. Like
Nice.
like
Oh,
just
oh,
like
literally
corduroy
that.
pants rubbing against each other.
Yeah, basically.
And so Hero's like, oh shit. Like for some reason it's like they're treating this like he's ET, and like if Baymax gets caught in public, it's gonna be like super
Yeah.
bad.
It is weird. Like,
Well, how prevalent are robots everywhere else right
They're
now?
pretty prevalent.
Like robot fights are a thing, I feel like.
Right. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah. Okay.
I would say he's only keeping it a secret from his aunt.
And so he runs downstairs into like the cafe, and Aunt Cass is like, oh, you're up. Are you going to school? And he's like, oh, like you didn't see anything? Oh, yeah, I'm going to school. Oh, okay, bye. And like runs after Baymax, and Baymax like gets on a streetcar, and there's this whole like chase scene, and he's following the little tiny robot, and then they get to like a warehouse, and so they like get up into this like super high window, and Baymax tries to go through, but he's too big and fluffy, and so then he's like
He
and he
farts.
starts like
He lets out the
It's like,
longest fart you've ever heard.
starts like deflating
Oh.
with his fart. And like Hero's all like, be quiet. And he's like, oh, sorry. And then he gets inside, and then he's like, and starts like inflating again really loudly. And he's like, this is going to take a second. And Hero's like, okay, whatever. You do that. Just be quiet about it. A Hero starts exploring the warehouse, I think. And he sees just like barrels and barrels and barrels and barrels full of microbots. And he's
Oh,
like,
I know what this is.
someone's been making more. And then I forget.
he says it exactly like that too. It like zooms in on his face.
And then I forget what exactly starts happening now. Then do they start attacking him?
They must.
Well,
what?
basically, yeah, he sees like robot arms manufacturing them and putting them in a barrel, and he sees them. He's like, oh my god, someone's making all these. But then he turns, and there's like a time, like Tamlynn said, and then they all start rumbling, and then basically they're being activated.
Hundreds
By
of
someone.
barrels.
Someone's wearing a headband.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And
well,
then I think we see the masked figure, right?
yeah.
Out from the shadows comes
Ah.
a guy in a trench coat and a kabuki mask, and he's manipulating all of the robots, and they're like all the microbots, and he's using them as legs, because he refuses to use his own. He was like,
That's his
Yeah.
Achilles heel.
I can't use my legs.
but I'm not joking. I know it's like an
Like, by
aesthetic
choice.
thing, but like by choice,
It's true. He does
we
not
never
walk
see him use
normally.
his own legs. Only robot legs.
Weird.
I didn't pick up on that. That's a good observation.
Yeah. Even like, I mean, I'll get to this later, but there's a certain point when he needs more robots, but he's using thousands, if not millions of them just to hold himself in the air.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. Wow.
Yeah. A
Mm.
little foreshadowing.
They escape after a very comedically
jump
a
out the
comedic escape
window.
where they shove Baymax
Oh.
through the window
And Baymax like
because he's a big
Baymax
fat
like
marshmallow.
hugs Hero so that they'll land on Baymax and like he'll absorb the like. The
Does he still have
landing.
the mini bot? His one mini bot, or did that guy join the others?
I think it joined the others. Or did
I
he
don't
keep it?
remember.
Mm.
Does he?
Okay.
No, I think it joined the
Yeah,
others.
I think so too.
I don't. I'm trying to remember.
We
yeah,
don't
I'm like
really
I feel
see
like
it
he
again.
kept it, but I don't know if it pops up again.
I think
Seems like it wasn't a
story-
big enough plot point for it. To,
Yeah,
like,
storyline wise, I don't think he had any reason to keep it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we know he knows where
Yeah.
the bots
He
are
was like,
being
"This has served its
held
purpose as a
and-
plot
yeah, so we
device,"
don't-
and he chucks it.
Get out.
Yeah,
He goes to the cops. He goes to the police station. And he's like
Mhm.
explains his whole story, and then the police is like, so a man in a kabuki mask stole your tiny robots. And he's acting like it's crazy, even though he can see Baymax standing right beside him, who is obviously also a really complex robot who is this boy's friend. Like this cop is just obviously useless. And then Baymax is like slowly deflating. He's got like 3 holes in each of his
Aw.
arm from somewhere in their travels. And so Baymax is just like carefully taking like scotch tape and just like from the police officer's desk and just closing all of his
Aw.
holes. And
That's
it's
so
very
cute.
adorable.
Mm.
And then Baymax's battery starts dying because he needs to get charged,
Mm.
which then turns him into drunk Baymax.
Which
Um,
is the best, and I completely forgot about it. And I think this is
Yeah, I
I
forgot
think
about
this
that
is when
part
Scott
too.
Adsit really shines. Because he just does such a great job of like slowing down and slurring his speech and like doing these hiccups, but they're not hiccups, they're like robot hiccups, which makes sense. 'Cause it's very
What does that sound like, Chris?
it's like
Show us
a-
a robot hiccup.
I can't do it. Oh.
So yeah, they leave the cop. The cop's like, "Let me call your parents," and then they just like peace because they're like, "You are being useless to us," and they go home. And then this is where now he wants to hide Baymax from Aunt Cass. And he's like, well, at first he's just like, okay, like when we see Aunt Cass, just don't tell her what we've been up to, right? Like just tell her we were out at school or whatever. And Baymax is like, we jumped out a window, like all drunk.
That's hilarious.
And so Hero's like, okay, well, I can't show you to Aunt Cass because you're going to ruin everything and you're going to tell her everything. And then there's this whole like, oh, and then Aunt Cass was like, oh, we're celebrating because it was your first day of school. I made you hot wings. It's this
Whoa,
really cute
sick.
moment. And Hero's just trying to make sure like she doesn't see Baymax like falling down the stairs behind him. He like goes upstairs and you hear a thud, and Aunt Cass is like, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's probably the cat is in my room, and then looks down and the cat is like at his feet. Hero throws the cat upstairs.
Cute.
And he's all like, Aunt Cass, thank you so much for the hot wings, but I'm just so excited to study. I'm going to go in my room and be excited. And Cass is all like, oh, that's good. I'm so glad he's like starting to not be so depressed. And then we go upstairs, and this is maybe my favorite line of the movie. So drunk Baymax, he's also slightly deflated when he's drunk. He's sitting holding the cat and petting it and just going, hairy baby, hairy baby.
Fuck? That's so weird.
And I laughed out loud alone in my room.
I can't remember exactly what is said, but we definitely have a bit of an emotional
because then
journey.
So he plugs him back in, and then Hero's doing something else. And then Baymax is just like, Tadashi. And Hero's like, what? And he's like, Tadashi. And Baymax has like come to. He's not drunk anymore. And he's looking into Tadashi's room at like his hat on his empty bed. And he's like, where's Tadashi? And Hero's like, he's not here anymore. And he's like, when is he coming back? And Hero's like, he's dead, Baymax. And Baymax is like, he's not dead. Tadashi is here. And he's like, yeah, everyone keeps saying that. Like, and yes, the memory of him is here and that'll always be important, but it's not the same. He's dead and he's gone. It's very sad.
So does Bergamot come to terms, or does he keep insisting that what's his nuts is there?
No,
I think then
he scans them. No, he goes over to the computer and he's like, he starts basically using the internet really quickly to download everything about psychiatry and grief and like dealing with grief, so that he can be a better healthcare provider to Hero. And then he basically says like, it turns out that one of the things you need is family and friends. So I've contacted all of your friends.
And Hero's like, what? No, don't do that.
Yeah. And Hero is like, no, what's going to make me feel better is if we go and kill this masked guy. Like, that's going to make me feel better.
Whoa, he's straight up
they want to kill him
He
yet.
just, he just wants
he's like,
kill
I'm fucking
him
murder
right
this
now.
guy. He's like, blood for blood.
Yeah. Wait, so
No,
he
not yet,
thinks
not yet.
this guy started the fire?
No, he doesn't think
Basically.
that yet. No,
Yeah. No, he
Okay, I
doesn't
don't
think that yet.
so.
Really? No, I think he's already put the pieces together that he thinks this guy
actually,
is
I think you're
responsible
right.
for
I think there's
Tadashi's
a
death.
moment here. I was taking notes as I was watching it because that helps me remember things. And then I remember writing a note of being like, Hero puts the pieces together of he realizes that that's why the fire was started.
Tuxedo Mask is in fact his brother's murderer.
Yeah.
Tuxedo
that's the only
Mask.
This is
logical
clearly an
explanation.
anime.
Yeah.
And he said he was masked, right? You did say that, yes?
Yes. Yeah. The Kabuki mask.
Kabuki Mask.
No, I'm envisioning Tuxedo Mask from now on.
You can. That's fine. It doesn't
Mostly because
matter.
I'm not 100% sure on what Kabuki Mask is, and I'm envisioning like a white fox mask with the red stripes on it. Very Inuyasha, if you will.
Yeah. That's right. You got
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
That's actually.
okay.
That's almost exactly so.
Cool. So go on.
I
I
forget.
know
Is this
what's
when he
going on.
teaches him kung fu?
Yeah, so basically we roll into the next montage, which is basically Hero coding and taking and using and putting in a new chip, because we didn't see this before, but when Tadashi introduces Baymax to Hero, he pushes his like up just above his heart, he's got like of Baymax's heart, he's got like a chip slot with like computer chips, and there's a chip that says I think it says Baymax, and there's like Tadashi, it's like written on like Sharpie, and he says this is what makes Baymax, these computer chips. So Hero is creating a new computer chip full of like weapons and kung fu moves and all this fighting styles that he's going to implant into Baymax.
Well, yeah, and Baymax is like, I don't see how this makes me a better healthcare practitioner. And Hero's like, shut up, it does.
We
and
also,
he's like, well, will this make you...
We also forgot that Tadashi told Hero when they first introduced that Baymax can lift like 1,000 pounds. So we know that Baymax is actually very strong too.
I don't understand the balloon concept.
It's to make him look non-threatening.
Does he make him armor? He makes him armor now too, right?
Yes, yeah. This is his armor.
It makes him some armor. It kind of looks shitty.
It's also made out of garbage cans.
Yeah.
It's made out of butt plugs and dildos.
He does he 3D prints all of his armor, and yet he has those. He could just make microbots to do that for him, but he uses a regular old 3D printer.
It's true. He should have taken this time to reinvent his microbots, but he was too sad because his brother died, which is fair.
Well, he's too focused
Well, yeah,
on
now he's
vengeance.
focused on vengeance.
Vengeance,
Well, yeah, I meant
Tamlynn.
before that, like he could have just reinvented his microbots,
Yeah.
but he was too sad because, like, understandable grief.
Yeah,
So
true.
yeah, so
Yeah.
Baymax gets all like kung fu'd out, and then they do a little like fight choreo part where he's like scissor punch, backflip, like I don't know. Those aren't the words, but like
What's
hero
a
calls.
scissor punch?
Oh, you've never seen a
Use
scissor
your
punch?
imagination.
Boof. Ka-cha! Ka-boy! You get their,
I'm imagining
get
it
both
like-
of their eyes.
I'm imagining like
Oh,
fists,
I
fists
thought,
like moving quickly.
I thought your index finger and your middle finger extended out as you punch forward, making
Go gadget scissor
Breaking
punch.
your
breaking
fingers.
your fizzers or your fizzers. Ooh boy, please somebody else continue talking about the movie.
And then they go gummy worms, and then they like cut in the middle of the montage, and Baymax hits a vending machine button, and the gummy worms fall,
Cute.
and Hero is like, yes.
Cute.
And then do they go back to get the microbots?
Yeah, they go back to the they go back to the warehouse, which honestly,
Sweet.
which is so smart because I was like, I didn't even think to go back to the warehouse while I was
What do you
watching
mean?
it. I was,
What would you have done?
Where
I
would
don't
you
know.
go?
I don't know, but I was like, when they showed
You're
back
just
up
like,
there, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I
sick.
could just go right back there. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we already know the police aren't going to help them.
Mm-hmm.
What else is he going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. And so while they're sneaking towards the warehouse, unbeknownst to Hero and Baymax, there's like a van kind of following them. We kind of see a van
Creepy.
following them, and we don't know who is in this van,
Amber
but
Alert!
that's for later.
No.
No, this would be a valid reason to at this point, though.
Do they? Okay, I'm gonna. This is spoilery territory, but that van looks like a van the first time you see it, right? But then later, it's clearly revealed
Yeah.
to be like a sports utility vehicle, like a RAV4.
Huh?
Yeah, it doesn't look like the
No,
same
yeah.
kind of van. No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
You're
no,
right.
I'm pretty sure there's a very clear shot of it saying RAV4 in the on the back of it.
I know. Okay, at first when you said that,
Wait, isn't it the future? Isn't it like
at
Maybe,
first when you
yeah.
said that, I was like, oh wow, he knows a lot about cars, and it's like that was just a very obvious imprint of the car.
Oh yeah, I know
Of what
nothing
type?
about cars.
It's like,
I don't remember why they go to the dock, but they go to the dock next. I don't remember how they get led there.
what doc?
Do they get led there by the microbot?
Maybe the
Do they
microbot
have
is
the
still in his
microbot?
possession, and
Oh,
Is he
it
still
would be
in play?
weird. That'd be a real double beat to be like, oh, let's follow this thing again.
Yeah, I don't know, but they end up at this dock, and they're like looking out in the distance, and then suddenly they see the man with no
Right.
legs, being like floating across the water. The
Mhm.
Kabuki mask man like
Inuyasha.
coming into play, which he's like floating in. They're at the end of the dock under a very bright light, so I don't know how this guy didn't see them, but they run off and hide to like watch what he's doing.
Okay,
And that's
fair.
when the friends show up.
And then the friends show up.
Mhm.
It's
They're
like a
like-
dangerous time.
It is a dangerous time, and they roll up in a RAV4.
Friends in a dangerous time.
Oh, did you guys get the rights
Yeah,
for that
BNL.
song?
What song?
Anyways, then they almost die. Kabuki Mask almost kills them a bunch of times.
Yeah, they're all like,
why.
they're like, Baymax called us. Baymax called us. We're
What?
here because you need help.
Oh,
Which is the thing we saw before when Baymax like contacted all the friends, and he's like, no, I'm fine, blah blah blah. And then
Hold
yeah,
on.
and
Baymont Murgamount called them and was like, hey, I foresee in the future that we're going to be going to this
No,
dock.
No, he called
He
them as
called
a,
them
as a
being
cure
like-
for depression.
yeah,
I understand why
Yeah.
he called them. I'm asking how
I don't think
they
you do
knew to
understand.
go to the
Will, can you
dock.
please mansplain this?
Yes.
Why
Oh,
did they
fuck.
go to the dock? How did they know? And what is this dock?
Because
Because Baymax presumably has GPS in him. He's a robot.
also they
But he
saw him earlier.
phone
They were in that.
calls
They
them.
were, yeah.
They
So
followed
they were
him
on
there.
they were on
So
their
they were
way.
they were in the van.
Yeah, they were the
Yeah.
van. So they were on their way to Heroes, and they
I
saw
understand.
him.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I think we
got
got
you.
confused with the
I
van
thought
/
that
RAV4.
was-
They're both.
I thought
it's
that
a
was
van, and then it
Tuxedo
was
Mask.
a RAV4.
Okay,
No,
I
yeah.
understand. Okay, never mind.
Oh
That's
no, he doesn't even use vehicles.
doesn't need
doesn't
them.
use his
Need
legs.
to.
You're
He's
right. You're
just-
right. I'm so sorry.
He's got microbots.
You're right. My bad.
So there's an epic chase scene that ensues, and they escape tuxedo.
Well,
Tuxedo
Wasabi's
Mask.
driving, and he's like being a very good driver and like stopping at red
Aw.
lights. And Gogo's like, "What are you doing? We're in a car chase." And then she like takes over and is all kick ass and
Cool.
like drives real fast. And then eventually they end up driving off the dock into the water, and they like sink down into the water. And
Oh,
you see the
yeah.
mask
Good one,
guy,
Go.
like from underwater. You see the mask guy come and look down on them, and then like assume they're dead when they've been down there for 5 seconds and walk away.
As you do.
And then
which is a bad
Yeah,
supervillain
always make
move.
sure
You
they're
don't
dead.
just like
They're
look,
just a bunch of
Yeah, they're dead.
kids.
and then
She's got a
Baymax
mask.
rescues them all. And they're like, "We need a safe place to go." And Fred's like, "I know a place we can go." Fred's like the stoner guy, right? He's the like shaggy Scooby-Doo guy. And then they show up to this like mansion, and everyone's like, "Great joke, Fred." And Fred like walks up and knocks on the door, and like a butler answers, and he's like, "My man," and like fist bumps him. And the butler's like, "Welcome home, sir." And they're all like, "What?"
the butler's name is
Thank
Heathcliff.
you. And they're like, "Whoa, Fred's rich, and none
Hold
of us
up.
knew."
What's the guy's name in Wuthering Heights? What's the name? Is it not Heathcliff?
It is.
What?
It's Heathcliff. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah,
I only
fuck
know
you,
that
Will.
because of Friends.
Okay, I mean, I read the book, but okay, great.
I smell a spin-off podcast.
Just called I read the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they show up at Fred's house, and it turns out Fred is basically rich, but he has no parents. His parents are basically like gone, and he's just like the rich kid who lives at home by himself
But
with
we
his
see
butler.
a picture of his dad, which is our little Stanley
Bergamot.
cameo.
No way.
Stanley. It's a
actually?
picture of Stanley. Yeah.
Yeah, so they end up going into like this lounge area in the house of like 1,000 rooms, whatever this
The
mansion
house
is.
of 1,000
And
rooms.
we've already kind of seen this, but Fred is obviously like a very big comic book nerd, and he's all about superheroes and getting superpowers. And he's like throwing them different comic books who the villain is on each comic book, and all the villains in each of these comic books he throws down turns out to be like tech people, like tech CEOs. So he says that the man in the mask is Alistair Cray. That's his determination, and they all kind of agree. Yeah, it must be Alistair Cray because
totally
he was
not.
there. He took the little bot, and the fire started. So the man in the mask must be Alistair Cray. He's the bad guy.
And nobody's like,
and then-
nobody's completely on board with that. They're all like, yeah, maybe. I think.
Wait,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, nobody's like,
So they're
oh, for
not
sure.
saying, okay, Will, you have completely misled me. You said they were like, oh, it must be Alistair Crane. Must be him.
Fred says
Turns
The rest
out-
of the movie is them being like, we gotta
I
find
mean,
Cray.
kind of, but mostly it's Fred being like, it's definitely Alistair Cray, and everybody else being like, it might be.
I
you're
don't
onto
remember that
something
much.
possible.
I don't remember
You're
that
right,
much
you're
doubt, but I am probably wrong because you've seen this movie many more times than I have.
Yeah, no, I don't know if there's that much like we're getting bogged down in this. I don't know how much
Yes.
hesitation they put up, but I feel like they put up a bit.
Yeah, but they're like, it might be him. That makes sense. He was there and he seemed pretty evil, and
Right.
and like Callahan died too, and he seemed to be nemesis with Callahan. So then they're basically like, let's become superheroes. Is that what
Stop
Oh, that's right.
it.
That's right.
Yeah, thus begins the next
Yeah.
montage.
Yeah.
You
the
can't
next montage
become a
begins.
superhero.
But they have, yes, you can, like Batman. They have crazy
Or
tech.
or Iron Man.
But But
Yeah.
are they superheroes?
No.
They're not. No, they're not. They don't have powers.
They all just create
Yeah,
tech.
they all create tech that has powers. And then, so you see them like developing their tech, like the bicycle girl turns them into little like rollerblades. They have
Cute.
like target practice on the butler for some reason.
Oh yeah, because they basically this is why I know that they're not convinced it's Cray. It's because they're like, well, we'll find out exactly who it is as soon as we get that mask off, because that mask is clearly connected to the headband thing that controls the microbots. So as long as we get that off, we'll know who it is and we can stop them. And so the montage is all about just getting that mask off.
Okay.
Yeah. So the butler's like
Mhm.
standing there reading a book and they're like shooting things at him. And the butler seemed unfazed, as if this is just his life all the time, is this
Aw.
dumbass stoner kid just throws shit at him.
Very likely.
Yeah, so they all have a nice big glow up. And and Fred, who wanted to like breathe fire, has this. They all have like these cool, like cutting edge futuristic like costumes or like outfits or superhero, whatever they're called, uniforms. And then Fred has this big, like lumpy, like dinosaur alien head that looks ridiculous. Like it looks like his mascot thing, but it
Is he,
can breathe fire now.
Oh.
And it can
darn. I
jump
was hoping
really
He
high.
was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was hoping he was like the Professor
Yeah.
Xavier, or where he just like sits and he just hangs out and like cheers them on, basically.
Yep, that's all Professor Xavier does.
Yeah.
Shut up. He can move stuff.
He had a
Oh,
nice
yeah.
monologue earlier about how he wears underwear, or maybe it's around now. He wears underwear. He does laundry like once every 3 months, and he wears
Oh,
his
no.
underwear. He says, "I wear him front, I wear him back, I turn him inside out, I wear him front and back," or something. And it's super gross.
As a man in quarantine, I've definitely not changed my underwear for several days at a time. I showered for this podcast for whatever reason.
Wow.
But I probably
You
hadn't showered
guys.
for like 4 days at least.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Amazing.
I'm disgusting.
No, it's amazing. Both of you guys, like, glowed up.
I don't know how amazing it is. I don't know. I mean, like, you could do what you want to do, but I don't think we need
No.
to put you on a pedestal for
No,
wearing your
you're right.
underwear.
It was
for weeks in a
amazing.
row. I know.
Like,
I'm
thank
saying
you.
No. Sorry. I think I'm mistaken here. I was not singling out Chris. I was saying it's amazing that both of you like wanted to like look good for the podcast, but it's something people listen to.
So they're at the end of the montage. They ended the montage. They've all trained. They're all superheroes. They're all 6 superheroes.
Can we count them? We
Yes.
have Go-Go.
Yeah, let's count
We
them and
got
also go
Wasabi.
through all of their powers.
Go.
Go-Go.
Yeah.
She fast. Wasabi.
Yes.
He's spicy. Fred. He's got honey. Wait, don't tell me. Bergamot. He's a robot. Obviously. Which hero is there? And
That's like very accurate. Very
Honestly,
accurate.
that's the
Yes,
closest
yes.
you've been.
There's gotta be one more person. I'm remembering their name.
Is
It's that bitch. I know what it is. Sorry, it's the
She's
lemon
not a
drop.
bitch.
It's lemon fucking what's her nuts? Honeysuckle or something like that.
Yeah. And you know what? You're
What
right to
the
forget
fuck
her.
is it?
Because she brings fucking
Fred.
nothing to the table.
That's not true.
Jeez, everybody else has been mentioned a few times.
Her
What is
superpower
her
is a
goddamn
purse.
name?
I don't care.
Okay, her superpower is a purse that like can generate different goo.
Goo.
Goo balls.
Yeah.
Jelly or whatever.
Chris, it sounds like you're discounting her for her femininity, and
No.
I'm gonna
What
have to
is
call
her
you on it.
name?
Honey
No,
Lemon.
I actually
Well,
like Honey
does
Lemon.
she
I like
drink
her as a
tea?
character. Probably. We don't actually know where most of them got
What's
their
her
names from.
nickname
Really just
from?
from Wasabi
Oh,
and Go-Go.
okay. Well,
And even
for
Go-Go, we
everyone,
just kind of
really.
assume. No, I like Honey Lemon. I just think that like her powers aren't super defined or good. But as a character, I think she's the nicest of the bunch.
Yeah, she's definitely the nicest of them.
Yeah, and maybe even
Oh,
the heart
yeah.
of the group.
Okay, we get it. You're trying to redeem yourself
True.
or
Yes.
whatever. It's
Did it work?
fine.
Did I do it?
So,
Her
Hero,
superpower's a
Baymax,
purse. So rude.
Honey Lemon,
Yeah. Okay.
Go-Go, Wasabi, and Fred. Those are the 6.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Hero, like you said, Hero doesn't really have a power, but like he's kind of like paired up with Baymax. So like
He is actually, even though
He's
Professor X has a power,
Professor
he's like the
X.
Professor X.
Got
He's like their leader, and he's like the smartest
Yeah.
of the bunch. I guess they kind of make him be like the smartest of all
and
these
he's
people.
like
He
designed
is.
Baymax. They've given him a new suit. And it's like way more
Red.
wicked than the old suit. It like looks way better. And it has like things on its back that Hero can like plug his hands and feet into. So now he can ride Baymax and Baymax can fly.
Cool.
like Iron
Sure.
Man.
So then they take a nice little fly around the city.
Mm.
And they have a
Yeah. And here's a thing that we forgot just before the montage, we find out that the first time they encountered the Masked Man, or sorry, the second time they encountered the Masked Man, Baymax scanned him.
Right.
Oh,
So Baymax has all of his like biological info.
interesting.
So the big thing that Hero makes is
Clone.
a giant scanner that can basically scan the whole city.
he makes a clone of the
Yeah.
evil guy and then just arrests that person and is like, we're good.
Mission
got
accomplished.
him.
Job done.
Can I, as long as we're going over things we kind of skimmed over, this, I don't know how important this necessarily is, but
Yeah.
Baymax is like, I don't see how flying
really,
makes me a
Honey
better.
Lemon is just. No, just kidding.
Yeah, but fuck Honey Lemon. No, Baymax is like, I don't see how flying makes me a better healthcare provider. And then Hero's like, I don't see how you don't see that flying makes you friggin' awesome. Which just seems like a throwaway thing, but it kind of matters. Anyways, then they go
Then
flying.
they go on a flight.
It
They go
does,
for
yeah.
a flight. And it's all like, woo, it's all like fun. And then like kind of scary for Hero, but then like exciting. And like, oh, in the middle of it, Baymax is like, oh, like you seem excited or something. And then he's like, the treatment is working. And then like falls off of the top
Aw.
of the San Fransokyo
Oh.
bridge. And they go for a big flight and they end up sitting on a rock. And they're like sitting on a rock looking out the water. And Hero's like, oh, that was awesome. And Baymax does a little scan of him. And he's like, oh, your like neuro levels are getting back to normal. You're not so depressed anymore. I can go if you tell me you're satisfied with your care. Like you maybe don't need me anymore. But he says it in his adorable like Baymax robot way of like, I have helped you, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and like
Yes, they're on the roof of something. Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, I can leave if you tell me you're satisfied with your care. And Hero's like, what? No, we got to get this guy. Do a scan of the city with your super big scanner that I just gave you. And so Baymax does, and he's like, oh, the person is on that island over there. And so
Too
Hero's
easy.
like, sick. Let's go.
Sack. Let's go.
Fucking
And then they
tight.
all fly there, right? Baymax flies them all there.
Yeah. Yeah. They fly to the island.
And they land, and there are signs everywhere. Oh, I remember this part. There are signs everywhere that are like hazardous, blah blah blah, quarantine. And,
Yes,
Hey!
quarantine.
and then one of them,
Oh.
I forget if it's Fred, is like, "Do you know what quarantine means? It means that there's a disease, and you have to be careful." And I'm like, "We all fucking know what quarantine means."
Yeah, put a pipe in it, Fred. Dick.
Didn't you know 5 years from now this was going to happen?
They go into it. They break in because they're like, fuck this place.
Yeah.
Well, but first they hear like a sound, and they're all like, "Bah!" And they all just like throw all of their like powers at it at once.
Oh,
And then
cute.
you look, and it's just like a little pigeon who's just in the middle,
Oh.
unfazed. And then it's like, "Meow," and like flies away. That's not a pigeon sound, but let's pretend it's like, "Whoo," and then flies away. So you get the
Right,
idea
yeah.
of like they're all like very like bad with their powers. Like their powers
Aw.
are very new to all of them, and they're also all scared shitless.
Hmm.
Continue, Chris. They enter the building.
No, that was an important detail. The pigeon was okay. I don't know if that was clear. They
yeah,
missed.
it went crew.
Yeah, it went crew. So they break in, and there's all this busted tech everywhere, just scraps of what looks like futuristic shit. And they're like, "What happened here? This is weird." So they go to like what looks like a control room, and they start. And I don't know how they stumble upon it, but they start playing back like footage that was taken, like I guess like security footage or whatever. And they see Alistair Cray, that guy, and they're like conducting experiments, and there's these two giant portals, and they throw a hat through one portal and it comes out the other, and Cray's basically talking to these like army people and politicians, and he's saying like, you see, we've basically invented like travel, like instant travel through portals.
The
I'm gonna
game
mansplain
portal.
here. Teleportation.
Teleportation. It's the Prestige. Oh my God, have you
It's
seen the
Portal,
Prestige?
The game. I've seen Prestige, but have you played Portal?
I have. I played Portal 2, never Portal 1.
So they watch the screen footage. There's teleportation, but they've just been doing hats. Hats
Shut
exclusively
up. This is
so
the
far,
Prestige,
apparently.
right? Don't
No,
do
it
this
is.
to me.
No.
Stop.
Yes. But this is the first time they're going to do a human test with the teleportation.
no.
So
It
there's
goes
this
Tesla
there's
on
this
them.
woman pilot, and she's getting in, and they're like, all right, let's show them what we got. And they're in the control room watching it. And then she, just before she goes in, one of the like lab techs is like, sir, there's an anomaly going on. It's not really, it's concerning. And Cray, and the one of the military guys is like, is there a problem, Cray? And Cray is all like, no, this is all normal. This is okay. Just continue on. And so the pilot goes through in this pod, it goes through the
Amelia
teleporter,
Earhart.
but then is not.
Yeah,
Find that out
kinda.
later.
Her name is not Amelia. Yeah.
Wait, her name is what?
Her name's not Amelia. We don't know her name
I
Okay.
yet.
do know her first name at this
Hold
point.
on.
Where's this island
Do we?
exactly?
Oh yeah, her name is
Abigail,
Abigail. Her name is
Abigail
Abigail.
sounds just like
Yeah,
Amelia.
Mm-hmm.
Amelia. So Amelia or Abigail shoots through the one portal, and again, these two portals are side by side. It doesn't come out the otother portal, and then suddenly the other portal starts shaking and becoming uncontrollable, and then explodes. So basically, Abigail like is stuck or is killed.
That's not
Gotcha,
funny.
bitch.
Like,
No, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, no.
I'm not laughing.
I almost said Amelia.
At that. I'm laughing at the fact that I tripped Will up so much. Good Lord.
So they found out the teleportation didn't work,
She
and
did.
that pilot died, and that for some reason now, I don't know why, but this is what like solidifies to them that it's
Okay.
Cray. But literally right after the footage ends, or it doesn't really end, it just gets like interrupted by the Kabuki mask guy
the
showing
mask
up.
Inuyasha.
Yeah.
Oh, it solidifies that it's Cray because they're like, oh, this is Cray's island. Like he did this. He's upset that
Well,
his like
why
That's
would
true.
he
failed.
have footage otherwise? Why would he have this like there?
Exactly. It's like it's clearly like his island where he was conducting experiments. At the I think like like they say like shut this down, like don't like close this island off. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. So then a battle ensues.
Because what's his nuts shows up?
They battle, and basically they're all trying to like fight him, but they're really sloppy with their fucking
Aw.
powers because obviously they haven't been training to be superheroes for like years, like
Sure.
other superheroes have been.
Batman.
So they all seem really confident and cool at the top, but then shit goes wrong, and he outwits them all.
yeah, Honey Lemon she makes like a cool ice ball. Like her goo makes ice, but she throws it at the wrong time, and then it just makes everyone else trip on the ice.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we could
I forget
say
how
that
everyone
Honey
else-
Lemons.
Are you baiting me into
She's-
talking about how Honey Lemon fucked everything up?
But it's a cool It's a cool power. Like, it's clear that once she knows what she's doing, it'll be cool. But they're all very clumsy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we
It's
never
like,
see that ice ball come up again. She uses it once to fuck up everything, and then never again.
Realized at least she took the initiative to tone it down.
True.
Exactly. But they all fuck up. And then finally it's Hero and Baymax's turn to really take him down.
Oh, yeah.
And they fucking knock his shit out. They knock the mask off.
Who is it his brother? Is it it's the fucking guy. It's the nerd like king. It's what's his fucking name?
It is the nerd
Professor.
king.
Who wants to reveal
It's
it?
the nerd
Yeah,
king.
it is. Yeah.
Well, I
Somebody
don't
else
know his
says
name. It doesn't matter. It's fucking
Robert Callahan.
It's-
It's Robert
yeah.
Callahan.
wow.
It's the professor. And Hero's all like, what?
Yeah.
You died in the fire. And he's like, no, I had your microbots. And then we see that, like, he, like, before the fire started, put on the headband and made the microbots, like, form a little, like, shield bubble around him, like, a little suit, so he could just, like, walk out. And then Hero's like, oh,
Now,
you go.
well, this is the weird part. So yeah, he's like, because Hero is like, oh, Tadashi saved you. And it was like, that was his choice. But this is the weird part where like, so the fire was literally random. Like no one started the fire.
No. There's no way, because why on earth would he have?
Please explain
Yeah, I
the
will,
movie.
because he
You haven't seen
created a
to us.
shield around himself. He just said it. So he
Yeah.
No. But like, who
He
started
did.
the
I
fire?
thought-
Is this?
He
Was this
started
the
the
real-
started the
fire.
fire.
They never say
He
who started
did.
the fire. They never say it.
I'll tell you who started the fire. Callahan.
I think it was the high-fiving robot arms. That's my theory. I think they malfunctioned.
No. He knew that a fire was going to start, so he created a shield to save himself.
Wait, so he didn't start a fire, but
No,
he
sorry.
just
No,
he
you're
predicted a fire was going
misunderstanding.
to start.
Why else would he create a shield over himself? Because he knew.
No, the fire had already
because the
started.
fire had already started.
Jinx.
See, but
Yeah, we see in a flashback.
my understanding was he like started the fire to make it look like the microbots were destroyed and that he was dead, so no one would suspect him. So he like started the fire and then like took the
Right.
microbots. That was my understanding. Like the death of Tadashi
created-
was accidental.
Sure.
If he started the fire,
Yeah.
don't you think he would have put the headband on first? Like put the headband on and then started the fire?
So what is this flashback?
He
then?
almost died.
Is it
literally
boom,
he
and
created
then
a
it's-
shield and then everything exploded.
Yeah. The flashback
Sorry,
is him
no.
putting on the
Wait,
headband
what
as
did you just
flames
say?
are roaring before the explosion goes.
Before the explosion goes.
Right, but there was already a fire. Like everything was on fire. And then he was
Because
like, oh
he's not
shit,
just
gotta
gonna
think
put-
fast. And then
I
put
don't
the
think
headband
that's-
on.
Maybe, but I.
It was
would
too
I think
question
he
close for
his
started
a
the fire.
intelligence. I would question his
Okay.
intelligence to be like his first instinct, right? Because like you can be as smart as you want, but instincts kick in. Like I would say if a fire's brewing, you get the fuck out to the closest door. You don't grab a headband to create a shield. He started the fire.
Callahan started the fire. You guys have the rights to that song? All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true.
Okay,
I never
moving on.
even considered that they don't say how the fire got started. It is a bit of a confusing writing
No,
moment.
it's not confusing. He started it. Fine.
That
I
was
guess.
my
So-
interpretation as well.
I mean, it's literally an
Yeah.
auditorium filled with experimental tech. Like I think it would have been weird to show it if it was like somebody
I
microwaving something.
understand, but
Exactly.
why on earth does he become this super villain after the fact instead of
Great question.
hey, everybody just calm down. Good Lord.
So we still haven't got to a very important part. So they find out it's
Mhm.
Callahan. Hero is super upset because
Obviously.
Tadashi died
And
trying
Callahan
to save
don't
him,
seem
and
to give a
he is
fuck.
responsible.
Callahan's like, well, that was his decision. Fuck that guy, basically.
Yeah.
Like, he
Sorry.
doesn't even
Just-
seem sad.
So Hero commands Baymax to basically kill Callahan, and
Yeah.
Baymax is like, harming another human being is not part of my protocol. So Hero punches his fucking heart chip thing, takes out the healthcare chip that Tadashi created, and leaves only the karate killing moves.
This is when he goes
chip.
red.
And that's what, yeah,
He
you
all
know
goes
it.
Cherries and
red, or
raspberries.
just his eyeballs? Cherries and
Just his eyeballs.
The birds and the bees. Cherries and eyeballs.
Well, his
Wait.
his
What goes
armor
red?
is red. But yeah, then his eyes go red too.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Baymax he just like hulks out, and he's like,
Becomes a complete killing
kill."
machine.
I don't know.
Is he up to kill anyone?
Yeah.
Or does he have his target? He wouldn't. There's no way
He has
could've
his
programmed-
target, but he doesn't seem to care about anyone else. Like
Yeah.
you see Hero going like, kill him, and Baymax listens to Hero, but then like the other 4 are trying to like stop him, and he's just like throwing them off.
Fuck
Like
you. Fuck.
he don't give a shit.
They could get really hurt from that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. This is where Honey Lemon doesn't
Honey Lemon
fuck up.
saves the goddamn day, Chris.
Okay.
So they're having a big fight, and Baymax seems like he's going to destroy everything and kill everyone. And Honey Lemon sees the Tadashi chip, like the healthcare chip, on the floor or whatever, and she grabs it, and she like gets it back into Baymax's chest. And then I think Callahan's escaped, but Baymax is maybe about to fuck
Yeah.
someone else up, and then he like
Ah.
woo, and like comes back to himself.
Nice.
I hate to be
And
that guy,
Heroes-
but her powers didn't really come into play there, right?
No, I was just gonna say that actually because she just happened to
Like I
get
said,
the chip.
They could have
Yeah.
at least had a shot of her gooping it like
Right.
Spider-Man
Exactly.
style into
Exactly.
her hand, but
That would
No, like I said, she's great. Love her. Just her
We
powers are
barely
pretty
even
useless.
talked about Wasabi's powers at all.
What does
I would
he
like
even
to
Got
do?
them
point
now?
into the
What does he-
building because he has his like
Yeah, but
laser ones.
No one felt the need to mention
we didn't even
it.
talk about it.
I
Yeah.
wanted to, but I didn't want to
Wasabi
bog
has,
us down in
What?
powers.
yeah, he's got laser sword
That's
hands.
pretty
He can
sick.
like literally cut through
He could
anything.
have fucked
Yeah.
everyone up. He shouldn't have sent Bergamot to what's his nuts. He should have just sent fucking Wasabi guy. So
Yeah. Well, Hero is acting like
a little brat.
like a little snot
Gone
nosed
full dark
kid.
side.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And he fucking takes Baymax and they fly out of there, leaving them on the
Wow, what an
island like a little.
asshole.
Like a little brat.
Yeah.
You guys
Little
can,
dick.
yeah,
Little
say that
dickhole.
instead. He's elevated from brat status.
He's like pissed. I mean, he just found out that that his one of his heroes helped kill his brother and doesn't even give a fuck. So he's pissed. You know, and he's going through
What do
puberty.
we-
There's a lot going on.
Oh yeah, he is a hero, right? Okay.
He goes back to the garage and basically because he wants
Oh yeah.
Baymax to scan for Callahan
The
again, but his scanner's
warehouse,
broken, so he goes
not
back to the garage.
right?
No,
Oh.
his garage. No, his garage where he creates all his stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So he fixes Baymax like big scanner and tells him to scan, but Baymax, because he has his healthcare chip, is like, will killing Callahan cure you or like heal you from your depression? Or like
It's a deep
no,
movie.
yes, or like will it bring back Tadashi? Yeah, he's basically being like, is vengeance really going to bring back your brother? That's basically what Baymax is saying in his robot.
Did we
speak.
also mention that Baymax says that he's been like his like programs has been his protocol has been violated? Because that hit me so hard.
Yeah,
Mm.
it is. Yeah, that is.
What
That does
happens?
hit hard.
You
Yeah.
Try to explain this in a detail that will hit hard, or I don't
You're just gonna have to watch it.
know.
So he says like what I think he keeps mentioning how Tadashi created him for, and Hero's like, Tadashi is gone, he's not coming back. And then Baymax, who said this before near the beginning, has said, no, Tadashi is here. We then see a video screen pop up on his stomach, and we see all these different tests of early like Baymax renditions.
Yeah, it's like a supercut of like bloopers kind of thing.
It's
Yeah,
just a
being like,
super kind of.
Yeah.
do you have the rights to that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you guys got all of the
Supercut
Lord
Max.
criteria.
It's
Yeah,
Lord Day.
you see this supercut of him like, he's trying to like Baymax, like start. And then Baymax, obviously it's from Baymax's POV, but it's clear that he keeps like fucking up or like throwing things or like whatever.
So he was
Tadashi's
initially aggressive. So really, all that What's His Nuts is doing is reintroducing him into his
no. You're getting
what
it all
he
wrong.
wants to
No,
do.
I like it. You're getting the
his-
wrong shit from this.
It's what he
And then
actually
Tadashi-
wants to
no.
do. He's just been conditioned. Like, if I must make this political.
This is making me so mad, and I know you're doing it on purpose.
Okay, go
so
on.
Tadashi's getting like sadder and sadder. He's getting more and more worn down, and then eventually he's like, "Baymax, test whatever, 100 million." And Baymax is like, "Hello, I am your healthcare professional. How can I assist you?"
I don't know what
And
to
from
say
that
about
one
that.
sentence, Tadashi realizes that he's working perfectly, I guess. And he's like, oh, I did it. And he's like, oh, you're going to help so many people. And like,
And he says, I can't wait till my brother sees you.
And then he
Aw,
says,
cute.
I am satisfied with my care. And that's when you realize, that like Hero making Baymax an evil fighting machine went against
good
what his
for him.
brother wanted. No, it's
Sure,
not what
sure,
his
you're
brother
right.
wanted.
You're right.
It's also when
not.
It's also when you realize that.
But Columbus wanted a certain amount of stuff too. I'm just saying. Is it right? I don't know.
Are you comparing Tadashi to Christopher Columbus?
Well, we're just saying.
Hey,
no,
if the
we're
shoe
just talking
fits.
here.
I mean,
We're
I want to be
just-
clear on this podcast that I don't support Christopher Columbus, but like,
No, I'm just
think that's similar
comparing
to Tadashi.
oranges with oranges here. So
Okay.
I just like to bring controversy to every podcast.
It is literally, it's like the emotional
I know.
crux of the
I would
movie
have
that you just
no,
ruined
listen,
for
I
everyone.
absolutely would have cried had I been watching this, but I could see that Tamlynn was getting emotional as she was talking about it. So I was like, ooh, I want to pick
So you had to bring in some genocidal historical figures.
Yeah. Spice it up. Wasabi would be right behind me on this. He'd be like,
Speaking of
my
Wasabi
superpower.
being right behind you, guess who shows up next? Wasabi and everyone
Honey
else.
lemon. Oh, and everyone else.
Imagine
What
it was
if it was
just
just-
Wasabi. Like, he's just like, yeah,
I thought it was
just,
going to
me.
be.
No, they're all like, you fucking left us on an island. And he's like, oh no, my
How did they
bad.
get back?
Heathcliff
Fred has
picked them up
Yeah, Heathcliff picked them up in
Okay.
Fred's helicopter.
in the
'Cause he's-
chopper.
Right.
Yeah, because again, he's a secret
Loaded.
millionaire. Mm-hmm.
Sickening.
Yeah, so basically they all find the power of family and love and friendship, but they also reveal that they found something else at the site. It's like a USB key. They plug it in, they watch. It's the rest of the security footage, and we see that after the portal explodes and the pilot who went into the portal it dies. Callahan is there. He like bursts in and he is yelling at Cray and he's all emotional and he's screaming. And they're like, Callahan was there. So they scroll back into the footage and they enhance the name on the pilot's uniform. And the last name is Callahan. And we see that Callahan hugs this pilot. And we find out that the pilot is actually Callahan's daughter.
Oh, devastating.
So now we know why like Callister hates Cray. Or sorry.
Callie.
Alistair Cray is one person. Callahan.
Amazing.
Vodka marshmallows.
Lister.
Oh man.
Now we know why
Yeah.
they're nemesis.
Yeah.
I forget how we get it. I know what the next big scene is, but I forget how we get there. So someone else go. Because then that's where they have the
Basically,
big fight out in
yeah.
the square.
Basically, it skips right ahead, I think, pretty much to we see Alistair Cray holding like a big event outside, like basically his like newly established like Cray Tech Industries headquarters, like this giant, beautiful building. And Callahan and his microbots and his kabuki mask show up and basically take Cray hostage, and Liz like starts destroying his building. And then the team shows up.
They take the portal, or Callahan takes like the portal that we saw from before. That's where Abigail got sucked into, and he like puts it into the sky with the microbots, and so the portal starts sucking up Cray's like new building. He's like, you took everything from me, and now you're gonna watch everything you built crumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed it. That's exactly what he says.
And same inflection.
Yeah.
And then the Six show up,
Yeah.
and they're like, Callahan, no.
Well, again, another battle ensues, but this time they're a little bit. Well, so another battle ensues. They're fighting. But again, Callahan always has the upper hand because he's smart and he's got the bots.
And the microbots are
I
amazing.
envision an old man. He's old, right?
He's like middle-aged. I'd say like 50.
He's played by James Cromwell, who is the farmer in Babe.
I read that book.
Call back.
Basically,
Well,
yeah, they fight him. They fight him hard. They get stuck in a point
And
where
it's
they're all
not going
kind
well.
of
Yeah.
they're all kind of getting overpowered by him. But then Hero quotes his brother and is like, "Hey, what if you look at it from a different angle?" And then they're all like, it clicks, and they're all like, "Oh, I know what to do." So they all use their powers to get out of their sticky situations, which is not looking at it from a different angle. They should have just always looked at it. Like Blade Hands is Wasabi is just like, "Oh, I'll use my blade hands to get out." Okay.
No. Because Wasabi's being like all the microbots, or no, he's in between two. He's stuck in between two like big doors,
that's
kind
true.
of thing. That the bots are pushing in on him, and he's trying to push them out. And then Hero's like, look at it from a different angle, and he's like, "Oh," and then he cuts through the floor and goes down instead.
That's true.
Because he can't cut through the microbots.
Yeah, it's Go-Go I was thinking of that just uses her blade feet in a circle to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like
Well,
Fred
yeah.
is being Fred's arms are being pulled and he's being stretched and he's like, "I can't stretch anymore." And then he's like, "Wait a minute, I'm inside a suit," and just like pulls his arms in and then like punches out the eye and like
and then he grabs like a metal sheet, and we forgot about this, but as a mascot he does like sign spinning.
Amazing.
So he grabs this metal sheet and does sign spinning with it and like cuts off all the microbots. But the big move for the whole team is basically they keep cutting down the microbots, and the microbots keep floating up into the portal. And they keep doing that until basically Callahan is out of microbots, that he basically only has his 2 legs to stand on.
Can't help but notice that we overlooked Honey Lemon.
Yes, I actually forget what she did.
Let me fill you in if that's okay. Unless, Tamlynn, do you want to take it from here?
I don't remember. You go, Chris.
So she's also surrounded by microbots. She's in a little bubble of microbots. She's like, "Oh, I'll think differently." She tosses her goo ball down. The thing that's poking in to kill her, I guess, gets stuck in her goo ball, and she grabs on and gets pulled out of the thing that she's stuck in. But she could have just also grabbed onto the thing and gotten pulled out. She didn't need the goo ball. Totally useless.
I think it would have been harder to grab onto it.
You're right. It would have been slightly more difficult.
I did completely forget what she did at all. You just explained that, and I'm like, I still can't picture that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because Hero saw things getting sucked into the vortex, and then that's when he was like, "Oh, we have to look at this from a different angle." And yeah, like Will said, he's like, instead of trying to fight the microbots, we need to get rid of the microbots. So they just slash everything until, like Will said, most of the microbots are in the portal, other than Callahan's 2 legs. And then he goes to be like, "I'll get you," and like nothing comes up to get him because there are no microbots left.
Because he's using millions of microbots to not use his legs.
Yeah.
That's so true. Why not use his leg?
Yeah, why not just sacrifice a couple?
He has pride. That's his
I know.
biggest flaw.
So basically, they take down Callahan, and it's like they've defeated him. He's down. All the microbots are gone, and his mask is off. They got his mask back so that he can't control them. He's basically useless. But Baymax is scanning. Basically, the portal falls down. It's still on and open, but it falls down to the ground. And Baymax scans it, and he says, "I detect a female life form in the portal." So they realize Abigail's still alive in the portal. She didn't die.
But she's old now and probably so hungry.
Well, no, it's only been like a couple of years.
She's
definitely
they actually she's in hypersleep, which I imagine.
Okay.
They're basically in what's it in Ant-Man? What do they call that realm?
Oh,
Microspace.
yeah, it's
she's in microspace,
Hypersleep
basically.
space.
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's
Jello.
basically it's
She's
so
in goo.
similar.
yeah, it is very similar.
Yeah, it's gonna bother me.
The
for
quantum realm. The
Quantum
quantum
realm.
realm.
Yes.
Everybody calm down.
They're basically in the quantum realm. And as we all know, time actually moves differently in the quantum realm. So she's not older.
Yeah.
Sure.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
locked down in that
Hero
for
and
sure.
Baymax fly into the
wait.
portal. Ooh,
Wait,
what?
Hero's
yeah,
like-
this is why I brought up.
Because we have like a little callback.
Oh, yes.
Hero's like, we gotta go in there. And they're like, Hero, don't. And he's like, someone has to go in to save her. And it's like pretty much exactly what Tadashi said about going in to save Callahan. And we all know Tadashi died. So
Right.
it's like a scary callback.
That's
Oh, yeah.
callback number
You're
one.
like, this might
Callback
be a
number
bad
two.
idea.
Callback number two is Baymax shoots out his wings, and then he turns to Hero and he's like, "Flying does make me a better healthcare professional or whatever," which is why I brought that up earlier. And then
Yes.
they fly in.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
And
So
then
they fly in and there's debris everywhere, right? It's just full of like broken glass and floating microbots because it was sucking up a whole building, right?
Mhm.
So it's super dangerous and they're flying around and then they see Abigail and she's still in her little spaceship kind of thing. And she's sleeping and she looks fine. And Hero's like, great, got her. Grabs the spaceship. They start flying out. And then, for some reason, they have to push it in a way where Baymax is like behind and can't see. And so Hero's like, left,
Keep going down.
hard right, over, under, hard left. And they're navigating. And then they get hit with something, I think. They like fly into some space junk.
mm-hmm.
And Baymax is like broken and his stuff is falling apart. And Hero's like, oh no, we're not going to make it out. And Baymax is like, there is a way I can save the two of you.
Of
But, like,
course.
Not himself.
Mm.
And so what we have forgotten to mention, that's a very important plot point right now, is one of Baymax's suit powers is he has like a fist that can like shoot off.
Yay! I said cannon, but same.
It is the same thing.
Very similar.
That's cool.
So Baymax is like, I can save you. And Hero's like, no. And Baymax is like, but you have to say you're satisfied with your care or like, I can't shut down. And Hero's like, no, we can't. And Baymax is like, you have to. And it's very sad. And he like puts his fist up to like shoot him away. And Hero says, I'm satisfied with my care. And then Baymax shoots his hand off. And Baymax just like floats back into the quantum solace. And
Quantum of Solace.
Hero
That's a James Bond movie.
The
and
worst
Hero and
one.
Abigail shoot out the portal. The portal was
It is.
also, I don't think we addressed, I don't remember why it was happening, but the portal was like unsteady. It was like about to collapse at any moment. So that's
Yeah,
also why it was
unstable,
dangerous
yeah.
for them to go in.
Mhm.
So he and Abigail shoot out, and like as soon as they come out, the portal like closes behind them.
Mhm.
That's
It
very sad.
explodes. Yeah.
I definitely did not do that moment in the movie justice. It's really
It's-
quite
it's
for
heart-wrenching.
listeners,
emotional.
Alenka
Yeah.
just yawned. For real.
That's only because typically weekdays I wake up at like 4:30, 5 a.m. So don't feel bad. I'm upset.
Okay.
I knew this was going to happen, though.
There's an emotional aftermath, but the aftermath is Callahan's getting taken to jail. Abigail's getting into the ambulance. She's getting medical care.
Yeah, he like sees his daughter going into an ambulance, so it's like nice because he knows that she's okay. But then he goes to jail because he just like did a bunch of bad stuff.
Yeah. I was like, he needs to be punished.
He did try to murder kids like a bunch of times.
Like a bunch.
So we see, it seems like everything's good, kind of, but Hero's in mourning over Baymax. This is kind of, I think it's like weeks or months later. He's finally at school and he goes into Tadashi's old workshop, and now it's his old workshop.
I think we missed a crucial element of this film because we missed the whole fist bumping thing.
Oh my God.
The fist bumping thing. Yes. Chris, take it away. Explain. I made a mental note to explain it too.
Yeah. Okay. At a whole bunch of points. The first time we really see it. Yeah, we fucked up. Okay, because the first time he teaches him karate, right? At the end of the karate montage, he goes to fist bump. Hero goes to fist bump Baymax, and Baymax is like, "What are you doing?" And Hero's like, "It's a fist bump." And he's like, "That's not one of the karate things I learned." And he's like, "It's not a karate thing. It's just a thing we do." And then they do like a little handshake thingy where that ends in a fist bump, where Hero goes like, fist bump, as if it exploded, right? But then Baymax goes, tra-la-la-la-la, as his pull away. And that happens several times throughout the film.
Wait. I'm so sorry. Could you explain it a bit more?
Sorry. You know when you fist bump someone and then you like pretend like you fist bumped and that it exploded?
Right.
Instead of it exploding, Baymax's interpretation of that is fist bump and then tra-la-la-la-la. Because this is such a sad moment when he's got Baymax's giant fist and he goes and he fist bumps it, and he does that where he pretends to mimic Baymax, but in doing so it dislodges what the fist is holding. Which, Will, did you already say what he was holding?
Yes, Baymax's healthcare chip, which, as we said earlier, Tadashi says that's what makes Baymax Baymax, is this chip.
Okay.
Yes. So, logical conclusion, literally the next scene is Baymax's point of view turning on, and we see Hero, and he says, "Hi, I am Baymax, your personal healthcare provider. Hi, Hero." So then we know that it's actually Baymax, and it's what Baymax remembers. Yes.
Great. That's nice.
But this is one of those movie endings where like, I'm happy that Baymax didn't die, but I don't understand how he took his heart out, put it in his fist, but was still himself enough to rock it off his fist.
Oh,
exactly.
Here we go. Because the real him is full of aggression, so the real him was like, "Get this fist out of here."
But we never saw. But his eyes never turned evil.
That's okay. His inner being released, really.
Yeah.
And so
then there's an epilogue of.
Wait, but can anyone explain this?
No,
explain
it's
what?
just. When they cut to Hero in that moment, Baymax reached in real quickly and pulled out the chip.
Yeah.
So then there's an epilogue where Hero is like narrating, like, "We never thought we would be superheroes, but you don't know what's going to happen in your life." I don't know what he says, but
that's basically it.
And that song plays that we heard.
Oh, I really thought that was
Immortals.
Well, they can't though, because they're just tech people.
And then
so what do they do then?
They're superheroes. Like, okay, are you saying Iron Man and
then?
Batman aren't superheroes? Is that what you're saying?
No, I am saying they're not superheroes.
Well,
they are heroes. They're not super.
You're kind of wrong. You're kind of wrong.
No, I'm not. They're not super. They are
Their
heroes.
tech makes them super.
No.
Yeah,
they do kind of have like super intelligence. Like
this
beyond
is also
your average person.
Perhaps
or super
I would say,
money.
especially, Batman.
Super money for sure.
has the advantage. Yeah, both of them actually. And
All right, so then we see credits. The credits are really cool, stylized, like very like concept art, but like drawings and
That's
anime
neat.
style.
I like that. Oh yeah,
credits.
love anime.
Yeah, and you'd think
that
the
shit.
movie's over. You think the movie's over,
But then,
as we referenced earlier, this is maybe, kind of, quite possibly, a little bit a Marvel movie.
So bloopers with the fucking characters.
Have you
Wow.
seen a Marvel
Bloopy
movie,
please?
Alenka? Oh my god.
no.
No, not bloopers. Not sorry. Not bloopers, but like Sorry. When I said bloopers, I meant like a goof scene. You know, like
Like
goof
an after
scene.
credit scene.
Yeah. Like a goof.
Some of them are goofy,
That's very
but I
different
would,
than
I'm
bloopers.
sorry.
I think they call them a stinger.
That's true. Some of them are silly.
Yeah. So basically, we cut to Fred's mansion. Fred's in his mansion.
Oh, didn't
and
expect him.
He's looking at the portrait of his family, and he's looking at his father, who looks remarkably similar to Stan Lee.
Oh.
And he's kind of like, "Oh, Dad, I wish you were here. I wish you could see all the cool crime fighting that me and my friends are doing. I wish I could make you proud." And he like touches the portrait, and the portrait like opens into a secret door.
That's
And basically, Fred walks into a secret room with like superhero costume, the same costume, but multiple outfits of it. And then he picks up this pair of underwear that's kind of like superhero underwear. And we just hear a voice say, "Fred?" Or does he say Frederick? I'm not sure, but he says Fred.
I think the
he
door
goes,
opens
"Son."
behind him first. I think we don't hear
Yeah,
the voice.
the door
first.
opens. Yeah. The door opens behind him, and then he's like, "Son." And he turns around, and then in walks the guy who looks like Stan Lee. It is Stan Lee, voiced by Stan Lee. And this character, Fred's dad, who basically we've established his family basically lives on a secret island most of the year, I guess. But Stan Lee comes in and he says, "I wear him front. I wear him back." And then they both simultaneously say what he said before. "I wear him inside
out and front and back."
That is ridiculous.
It is a shame, though, that they didn't make a Big Hero 7.
It's
Well,
true. Yes.
Yeah. Also, can we get back to that name? Like, what exactly? It's still kind of unclear because, like, they never.
What's not clear about that?
No. What's Big Hero? So it's just like somebody got like in a car crash, couldn't say sentences anymore, and they wanted to tell you about this story, and they're like, Big Hero 7, 6, or whatever the fuck it is. Like, that's like, what is that title?
Listeners, if you wanna voice your displeasure at Alenka's understanding of this movie, please do.
Well, why don't
comment.
you tell me what this title means? I'm so
I just did.
Yeah, but it's 3 individual entities just mashed into one sentence.
No, it's not. It all
It's
makes
not even a
sense.
sentence
Because they're
So
all,
wait, Alenka,
they're
would
like
you have
all
preferred-
big heroes?
Would you have preferred if it was just called Hero 6 or 6 Heroes?
I wish they had been. Honestly, it should have been called the fucking Bergamot or whatever. Bergamot.
The Baymax 6. There we go. There we
Baymax.
go.
It should have just been called Baymax. Or. Not that.
How many butt plug dildo bots do you give this movie?
I don't like that reference. I'm so uncomfortable.
How many?
I was raised Catholic, so we don't believe in that.
They can be uncomfortable if you don't use them right.
I'm so uncomfortable with what was said just now.
How many do you give
serious.
this movie or this movie explanation?
This explanation was fun. I liked it a lot. Honestly, I'm very much against this dildo butt plug thing, though, so I don't want to give it any, specifically because of that. But I'll tell you how many big-ass marshmallows I give you. The whole bag.
Ooh, the whole bag.
Ooh.
They're not actually butt plugs. You know that, right? Like, that's just like
I
a
don't
dumb
know.
joke we kept riffing on that we maybe should have just thrown away at the beginning.
But perhaps they are. You know how people, when they make their freaking cartoons for children, they throw in all these jokes for adults? Perhaps.
I don't think
they
they're
are
butt plugs. No.
I'm going to Google it.
I'm on butt plug. I'm on pro butt plug. So
Yeah, please Google Big Hero 6 butt plugs and let us know what comes up.
I'm scared. Oh, it does
all
come-
right. Well, Aleka's Googling this, guys. Chris and Tamlynn, thank you for
he's
coming
so
on.
Cute.
Thank you.
If our listeners want to see you more, where can they find both of you or both of you together? Ooh.
Oh, never look for me alone. I think if you YouTube Cookie Biscuits Comedy, you'll find us pretty quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're on Instagram at Cookie Biscuits and on Facebook. But yeah, YouTube is our main thing, or cookiebiscuits.ca is our website. Yeah, if you want to find my Instagram for whatever reason, it's at Tamlynn Bryson, TAMLYNN, just to make it complicated.
And if you want to find my Instagram, fuck you. Don't bother. There's nothing there for you.
I might be coming out with a new sketch group in addition to my Cookie Biscuits sketch.
Whoa.
What?
So
That's some wasabi. Yeah, way to drop it.
I'm not leaving Cookie Biscuits, but I'm working on some stuff with some more friends. I won't do the official announcement because I haven't talked to them about it. It is not dessert related. We tried to.
It's pancake crepe.
What is it? Pancake crepe? Pancake crepe jock?
Well, if you want to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's at Haven't Seen a Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at haven't_seen_it. And you can go to our website. That's www.haven'tseenapodcast.com. There you can find all our episodes, the full list of movies Alenka hasn't seen. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And you can see pictures of our drinks and our guests. It's a great website. I spent a lot of time on it. Please go to it.
That's what I say about my website and the Cookie Biscuits website. I'm like, it might be unnecessary, but I pay a lot of money for it, and I spent a lot of time designing it. So please go look at it.
Yes, high five, Tamlynn. Web designers right here.
Yeah.
Speaking of sketch comedy as well, if you want to check out Lincoln and I's sketch comedy group Big Cake, that's bigcake.ca or Big Cake Comedy on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that jazz as well. There is actually a collaboration video between Cookie Biscuits and Big Cake, two baked good comedy pals.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to part 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, part 1 is on our channel, Cookie Biscuits, and then part 2 is on the Big Cake channel.
And part 3 is actually this podcast, 2.5 hours long. Check it out.
It's very on brand, though, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And on that note, you guys, thanks for listening. Good night. Fuck you.